2011, the people of Benghazi have begun the revolt against the brutal regime of Muammar Gaddafi. Yet standing in the way of liberation is the 2-mile sprawling fortress known as the Katiba. Holding hundreds of soldiers and heavy artillery, it stands poised to rain death down upon the protesters. This is the story of one man, an ordinary Libyan who realizes that there is but one way to stop the bloodshed, one way to gain freedom, the sprawling fortress, the fist of Gaddafi. The Katiba must fall.
The man rests his weary head on the steering wheel. A low hum escapes his lips as he recites the verse. Outside, the din grows louder. Cries of rage, screams of anguish, and the deafening sound of the heavy guns. A neighbor approaches the car and knocks on the window. "Are you okay, Mr. Zew?" he asks. The man sadly smiles. "It's okay, my friend. Just resting my eyes." The neighbor fades away as Mahdi Zew rests his hands on the steering wheel. His grip tightens. No more killing. The Katiba must fall. He starts the engine.
I am one of his best friend, and he didn't tell me, It came suddenly, this idea. He didn't tell his family, So they didn't imagine that somebody will come from this way,
Colonel Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya with a fist of iron for nearly 42 years. And in Benghazi, a city quietly hostile to the regime, his fist lay poised, ready to strike down from the turrets of the Katiba, a hellish fortress that once you enter, you may never leave.
We can't pass by Katiba.
You cannot even look at this building.
You may never come out.
Either you are dead or you will be in prison for life.
Yet within a matter of days, the Great Walls would crumble and the East would be free from Gaddafi's yoke. But how did these events come to pass that would culminate in one man's act which would bring down the walls of the Katiba?
Mahdi Zew stops the car on the side of the road. They'll never see it here, he thinks, as he scans the copse of trees that obscures the fortress. In the distance, flashes of gunfire illuminate the afternoon sky. He wearily gets out and opens the trunk. 2 giant gas cylinders stare back at him. He clenches his jaw and gently closes the trunk. He climbs back into the car and reads verses from the Quran.
لما جانا بالصبح وشرب قهوة يعني حدثنا لأن نحنا قبلها ما كناش يعني حدثنا شو صار في الليل. أيوة. يعني يحكي عن الأحداث اللي صارت يعني مش موضوع ثاني.
كان يعني حنون فينا بكل درجة لا توصف. كنا متعلقين بيه واجد.
17th of February, a day of rage. Amidst the uprisings in Tunisia and Egypt, the people of Benghazi come out en masse to protest the Gaddafi regime. They demand human rights and social justice, yet they have no illusions about the likely outcome.
I remember saying to my secretary, I told her, anybody who goes out on the 17th must be mad, must be crazy, because, this guy's going to have even photographers there taking pictures and finding out who each individual is, and he'll pick them up one by one.
Yet soon, Tawfiq would find himself in the middle of the protest downtown.
I just found, the next day I found that I parked the car maybe 3 blocks away. Usually you'll find guys just standing on the corner, having a coffee or chilling out. And on that particular day, each corner had about maybe 20 to 30 people on it. And then that's when the riot police came. We sort of met with them at first, and then the clashes broke out.
First, it was just the riot police, but soon, the armored vans came.
And they just came like plowing into people, anybody, and he was like zigzagging through the street, so anybody standing in front was just, not, one guy had his leg was just really sliced off. Even this, the crowd was able to run the police back.
As a consequence, Gaddafi loyalists brutally cracked down, resulting in the deaths of several demonstrators.
But then what happened is he had these thugs that he put in yellow hats, and he brought in thousands of these people. These were people in his revolutionary committee that he brought in to stop anybody from protesting. When they came in, they basically attacked people with knives, daggers, cleavers, and they just came rushing in. They just beat the hell out of anybody they caught. And then they took them in and took them to the army base. All they know is brutal force. That's their system. That's how they run it. And that's what they did. They responded with brutal force. It became a violent protest. There was no way back. Otherwise, we'd be caught. And if you're in a Libyan security prison as a political prisoner, you may never come out.
Mahdi Zew inches the car forward, tears and rivulets down his face. The sun disappears behind dark clouds, engulfing the road in shadow. 2 men, hurrying away from the battle, stop and stare in bewilderment at his car. What madness would lead him to go this way? Zew rolls down the window and turns towards them.
كان 3 أيام الجنازة كان كل ما يروح يقول كان تنفتح الكتيبة، كان ديما كان عنده إصرار واجد على فتح الكتيبة، فكان هذا اللي شغله في الأيام هذين اللي كنا معه، كان شغلته فتحة الكتيبة.
متأثر طبعا لأن الشباب اللي كانوا يحب فيهم يطيحوا قدامه، متأثر جدا كان بالشيء هذا، هو اللي خلاه يدير شيء زي هيك.
هو بطبيعته يتأثر من أي موقف، يتأثر من أي حاجة، كيف ما نحن نقوله ما عندهاش عزم.
18th of February, the Katiba. A funeral procession marches by the Great Katiba to bury the fallen of the day before.
The funeral, yeah. So we passed from there, and then we go right.
How many of you?
Hundreds, yeah, maybe 400 or 500.
And
every day increasing.
And the funeral was coming to go to
bury the bodies.
Yeah.
And then
Soldiers opened fire without warning on the procession, scattering the demonstrators.
Every time you pass the barracks, the soldiers that were in the barracks would
come out shooting their machine guns. They had snipers on top of the building as well shooting. And basically they would just sweep the air. They just keep going forward and shooting anybody in sight. It was to the point some of the hired mercenaries that we had were drunk, and when they shot someone and he fell, they were dancing.
I couldn't believe what happened. Couldn't believe.
It was a wave. It started off as a small ripple, and then it just moved on. And
So we have to continue. We cannot stop.
Next thing you know, it was a tsunami and moving at its own pace and direction.
Down Gaddafi. We want Gaddafi out. Khalas, this is when you say this word, you are dead.
You think that when you hear not just a machine gun, you hear a pistol go off, you're going to run like crazy. But these people didn't. They stood there, and then they went behind corners and they were taunting the guards from there.
And here they were live fire.
Live fire. They're using Kalashnikov and anti-aircraft.
One guy was amazing. He was just walking around and he was just saying, "God, I'm with you, God." And he just kept walking, and they were shooting like bullets were flying, but he wasn't hit. It was either him or us. There could be no other solution.
either we win or we die.
Mahdi Zew looks at the two men for one instant. The car rolls by inexorably, as if time is winding down.
Sir, the Katiba is ahead. They're killing everybody. Turn back.
Zew sadly smiles and slowly raises his fingers into the sign of victory. He whispers, "Tell my daughters I did this for Libya."
فقدنا بالاتصال بعدها الساعة 1:30 حاجة زي.
Yeah, very nice girls and he loves them too much, you know.
لا كاين يشوف فيهم يعني يشوف فيهم شنو صار فيهم من الأحداث.
She said, we don't imagine that our father he loves something more than us, you know. She means Libya.
فما كناش عارفين القصة، ما كناش عارفين كيف مات، كيف. فبعدين عرفنا ان واحد من جيراننا قال لنا كنت نازل معاه بنتين الغاز.
19th of February, siege. For 42 years, residents of Benghazi have lived in a state of siege, living in terror of Gaddafi's regime. Yet within 3 days, they themselves would besiege the Katiba, fighting back with anything they could find.
This is the main entrance, okay? The army was there.
And then at first it was rocks. They started throwing rocks at the guards. So, you know, it was rocks against machine guns.
Snipers there, anti-aircraft here, also there.
So everybody give an idea, he tries to do something.
We just have a bottle of gas. That's it.
A Molotov cocktail.
Yes.
And so protesters began using gelatina, fishing dynamite made locally in Benghazi.
They tied these homemade bombs to the spear gun, and they were, you know, lighting them up and shooting them at the guards.
But the Katiba stood impervious to their assault, forcing the protesters to use heavy equipment and vehicles.
Sometimes we see a bulldozer. Sometimes we see a big truck. Sometimes some guy with his own car, he goes and he comes back. He gets shot.
Yet despite their best efforts, the walls of the Katiba hold fast, and the death toll rises higher.
The car picks up speed and races down the one-way road. The trees ahead obscure the Katiba as tracers light the darkened sky. Protesters fall as holes punch into the buildings nearby. The car races around the corner. A group of soldiers gathered by the main gate turn in surprise. Then terror. They fire at the missile hurtling towards them, but to no avail. And like the dust from the Ghibli, they scatter to the four winds. The gate approaches, but Mahdi Zew doesn't see it. Ahead of him lie the smiling faces of his beloved daughters. He raises his head, and then a blinding light.
لما تفجيرها داخل الكتيبة لما تفجيرها داخل الكتيبة قد استشهد في سبيل الله.
On the afternoon of February 20th, Mahdi Zew, an oil company administrator and father of 2 daughters, fills his car with gas cylinders and gelatina and crashes into the anti-aircraft gun outside the Katiba. The explosion causes a breach in the gate and the protesters storm through. Soon, the battle is won. Mahdi Zew gave the ultimate sacrifice, but opened up the gate to the Katiba, thus freeing the city of Benghazi.
كيف تنوض الصبح؟
كي كنبكي في كل يوم.
كيف النهار كان يمشي؟ كيف النهار يمشي كويس؟
كده كان يعني معنا في كل حاجة، كان من الصبح في كل حاجة، كان العشية يقضي فيها معنا مرات، فكان مفتقديننا واجد، ولعنته نذكروا مفتقديننا واجد في كل شيء، كان يشوف فينا حتى الأسواق كان يمشي معنا، فافتقدناه واجد، أكيد فقدناه واجد.
مستحيل لأنه حنقعدوا نذكروا في كل مكان.
كنا نذكروا فيها هذا البطل متاعنا كنا.
Mahdi Zew,
He had the gate.
you know, he blew up half the door, and
We have liberated Benghazi.
Katiba went down.
the burden on my chest had left.
A new future now.
Everybody is like reborn.
When we destroy the Katiba, we start hug each other.
People, you can see people smiling, people dancing on top of the tanks, having good time.
So it was fun going to Gaddafi's house and taking a leak.
This flag, it's my flag, you know. The Libyan guy, he's my brother.
We breathed the air of freedom at last.
رأينا اللي نتمناه إن شاء الله تكون ليبيا أو الشعب الليبي في مستوى شهيد المهدي زيو، في مستوى حبه للوطن وغيرته عليهم، يضحوا مش يضحوا بأرواحهم ولكن على الأقل يضحوا بموتهم بعلمهم بأي شيء يقدروا يديروه في سبيل الله تكمل ليبيا الحرة.
We will not surrender. We win or we die. Our flag won't fall down. Wave up high forever.
دروع بشرية وجرى والمدنيين في سياق الحرب.
No one even was thinking that he able to even pass by from outside, and if there's anyone even accidentally pass by, they're gonna shot him.
The tanks, some of them were burned. The ones were still in good condition. They walk them, they drive them outside. They were having fun. They playing with the tanks. They go inside. They go in the streets, cruising inside the streets. They are. No. They were having fun. They were having fun.
This is my friend. This is the name of my friend. شنو شهيد? He died here. He died on the 4th day. His name is Noah. His name is Muftah. That's his name, Muftah.
This is what I call running for your life, right?
Blend in with the populace.
Yeah, so you get rid of your military gear, your military clothing, and you blend in.